political, economic, social, and cultural rights. The moral bankruptcy of Indian occupation forces was laid bare by the callous and inhuman attitude in handling the mortal remains of Sayyid Ali Gilani, the iconic Kashmiri leader and freedom fighter. Since 5th of August 2019, more than 540 Kashmiris have been martyred by Indian occupation forces during fake search and cordon operations. India's state terrorism against Kashmiris revalidates the increasing global concerns about the situation of human rights, which is fast deteriorating in multiple interlinked ways. First, the scale and spectrum of Indian abuses in IIOJK have exponentially grown with devastating human toll. Second, operating under draconian laws with complete impunity, the Indian occupation forces are committing unspeakable atrocities to break the will of Kashmiris and to resist the occupation. Third, the recent arrests and reprisals against human rights defenders and journalists on fabricated charges in IIOJK is another example of India's continued persecution and intimidation of civil society. And fourth, India continues to outrightly deny access to UN special procedures, independent human rights observers, and global media, thereby evading independent assessment of the ground situation in IIOJK. Excellencies, in September last year, Pakistan unveiled a dossier that extensively documents irrefutable evidence of India's state terrorism and gross and systematic human rights violations in the IOJK. The 131-page dossier covers accounts of 3,432 cases of war crimes perpetrated by Indian occupation forces. It is corroborated by meticulously gathered audio and video evidence. These reports and the dossier provide sufficient evidence for the international community to hold India to account for its reprehensible conduct in the IIOJK, which is repugnant to every canon of civility and international humanitarian law. Excellencies, the Jammu and Kashmir dispute is one of the longest standing items on the agenda of the UN and OIC. The global community can no longer ignore when millions of Kashmiris' lives are at stake. Pakistan, for its part, remains committed to the early, just, and peaceful resolution of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the UN Security Council resolutions and wishes of the Kashmiri people. Pakistan is a proponent of regional peace and harmony. However, India cannot erect the edifice of artificial peace on the graves of the Kashmiris. We call on India to immediately reverse its unilateral and illegal measures instituted in IOJK since 5th of August 2019. End human rights violations in IIOJK. Withdraw the occupation forces from IIOJK so that people of Kashmir can enjoy their right to live freely. Reverse the demographic changes in the occupied territory, remove hurdles in the work of and extend full cooperation to UNMOGIP in fulfilling its mandate. Release all political prisoners and stop the persecution of Kashmiri political leadership. Lift curbs on educational institutions in IIOJK and allow Kashmiri youth, especially girls, to exercise their right to education and fulfill its obligation of holding a free and impartial UN-supervised plebiscite to let the Kashmiris exercise their inalienable right to self-determination as enshrined in numerous UN Security Council resolutions. Excellencies, Pakistan greatly appreciates the OIC's continued and unequivocal support on the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. We are profoundly grateful to this contact group for playing a leadership role in this regard. This organization has been at the forefront of the efforts to support the just and legitimate struggle of the people of IIOJK for their inalienable right to self-determination, as reflected by the decisions and resolutions of the Islamic Summits and Council of Foreign Ministers sessions and the statements issued by the General Secretariat and the IPHRC. In view of the deteriorating situation in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, it is imperative that the OIC doubles its efforts to facilitate a lasting solution to the Jammu and Kashmir dispute. The oppressed people of Kashmir now more than ever count on OIC and the Muslim Ummah as saviors. I also request Your Excellency's active support in raising the issue at relevant UN fora, including the UN General Assembly and the Human Rights Council. I will conclude my remarks with the words of Martin Luther King. He said, and I quote, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." We hope the international community would be on the right side of history when such an account is made. I once again thank you for your participation today. Thank you.
وزیر خارجہ